Hello everybody, welcome back to Bad Bookers Podcast. My name is Jack and we just had Monday Night Raw last night and we had the Superstar shakeup. So obviously we know who joined Raw, so I'm going to try and guess who's going to go to Smackdown, and because I've got my lists of potential names who I would like to see on Smackdown, not necessarily who probably will. There's probably some obvious ones, but these are just the superstars I would like to see on SmackDown Live. So first of all, we had Jinder Mahal, the United States Champion, or then United States Champion, moving over to Raw. He then got beaten by Jeff Hardy, who is now the United States Champion. Now, obviously, normally when the United States Champion goes to one brand, the IC title goes to the other brand, because you can't have two mid-card titles on the same brand. But I don't think that's the case this time. I think the IC title's staying on Raw. I don't think they're going to move Seth Rollins purely because... I purely think it's because they've only just started this Monday Night Rollins thing, and I don't think they're going to ditch it just now. They've only just done it for a couple of months. So I think he's staying on Raw, and I think Jeff Hardy's going to go over to SmackDown with the US title. Obviously, at this Greatest Raw Rumble, Jinder's got his rematch clause then, and you probably have Jeff retain to then face Orton at Backlash, who is the number one contender. And I just, fingers crossed, I don't want to see Mahal versus Orton again. No one wants to see that at all. I don't know how well Jeff versus Randy's going to be, but it'll probably be better than Jinder versus Randy. Next up, we had the Riot Squad versus... what am I on about? The Riot Squads, they jumped in on a match between Bayley and Sasha, so we had no finish to that feud at all. Well, I've put a finish to that feud in my list. So obviously, you would think straight swap, Ruby Riot and her Riot Squad. You would think Absolution are going to go to SmackDown with Paige already the general manager of SmackDown. That could tie into quite a nice storyline with Absolution going to SmackDown. So yeah, straight swap, Riot Squad for Absolution. The next one was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Now obviously, technically, they weren't employed by SmackDown, but you know what WWE are like, they just like to forget some things. But I haven't got two people going over to SmackDown, I've only got the one person going over to SmackDown, and that person is Finn Balor. I think he's going to replace KO and Sami Zayn over there. I didn't know whether they were going to do it as a tag team or two single competitors, but I've gone for one. And it links in with my next pick. Breezango ran over to Raw, and I'm going to replace Breezango with The Club. You're going to have AJ, Finn, and The Club on the same brand. It needs to happen at some point. It just writes itself. It really does. You could do it similar to the New Japan and Ring of Honor stuff that they're doing at the moment with Cody Rhodes and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. But this is OG Bullet Club. This is Finn Balor, Gallows and Anderson, the OG guys. And then obviously AJ came in to replace Finn after that. It writes itself. It really does. You can even put Nakamura somewhere in there as well. Just have the New Japan feel on SmackDown. I think that'd be great. Especially with Daniel Bryan on there. SmackDown could be the A show, in my opinion, with all these moves. Because Raw have got some absolute duds. SmackDown will probably get some duds. I'm probably forgetting a bunch of people. But I personally think SmackDown is going to be the A show after this. Next up, anyway, Natalya went to Raw, which I didn't think was going to happen. I thought Charlotte was going to go to Raw, but it didn't happen. Natalya has gone instead, which makes sense now after the promo she had with Ronda Rousey, because apparently they work together in the Performance Center. They've been training with each other. So it makes sense for them. Natalya looks like a face on Raw. So maybe have Ronda turn heel, or Natalya's an alright heel. But if they get put into a feud together, it will ease Ronda in. It's a win-win for everyone, really. Natalya's a good, safe pair of hands in the ring. She's a great technical wrestler. And no doubt she's taught Ronda Rousey a thing or two about the professional wrestling industry. So that seems like a feud waiting to happen. And then we can have Charlotte versus Ronda later on. Main event in WrestleMania, like I've said before. I have gone for Sasha Banks to replace her on SmackDown Live. I think that's a good core of people you have on SmackDown Live if Sasha goes. You have, obviously, Sasha Banks. You have the SmackDown Live champion, women's champion, Carmella. You have Charlotte. You have Becky Lynch. You have Naomi. Maybe Asuka. I don't know what's going on with her. But that's a solid group of women wrestlers over there. Did I mention Becky Lynch? I can't remember, but she's over there as well. A solid group of, I would say, look, it just ties into my A-show comment. I really think SmackDown are going to look really good this year. And I'm happy for it, especially with Daniel Bryan back as well. But anyway, next up we have Dolph Ziggler. And this is just a straight swap for The Miz, I think. Obviously, last night it was confirmed that The Miz is going over to SmackDown. So yeah, Dolph Ziggler one way, The Miz the other way. They're always linked in some way. I'm just glad we're never going to see The Miz versus Dolph for a little while longer. Because we've seen that far too many times over the years. But next up we had Baron Corbin has gone to Raw. And I would like to see Elias go over to SmackDown. You don't need Elias wrestling every week. You can do his little concert to the crowd, get a little bit of heat every week. Maybe have someone interrupt him, have a 2-minute match. Sorted. He's not going to get dull with the crowd anytime soon. Everyone loves him, even though he's a heel. I love him. And he's still going to get his time on SmackDown, so he doesn't need to be on Raw, in my opinion. Next one was Bobby Roode was the last TV swap. Because obviously there was 5 swaps that didn't happen on TV, or the jobber swaps, if you will. But Bobby Roode has gone to Raw, and I have replaced him on SmackDown with a female wrestler. Now, I mentioned the 5 or 6 women's wrestlers about 2 minutes ago now, was it? I wrote down either Alexa Bliss or Mickie James. You're probably more likely seeing Mickie James go over to SmackDown, because it would make sense for Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss's storyline for Alexa Bliss to run away to SmackDown. But I think Mickie James is going over to SmackDown. And then on Raw, you've got Nia Jax, Bayley, Alexa Bliss, Ember Moon. You've got the Riot Squad. You've got Natalya now. And then on SmackDown, you've got Sasha, Carmella, Charlotte, maybe Asuka, wherever she's going, no one knows. Naomi, Becky Lynch. Just both sides have a really good core women's wrestling. I don't know what the word is. Just a good core of women's wrestling on their brands. The 5 jobber, if you will, the 5 jobber swaps were The Ascension, Zack Ryder, Mojo Rawley, Mike Kanellis, and Chad Gable. So, obviously, Ascension do their bits with Breezango in their fashion files. Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley seem to follow each other everywhere. Mike Kanellis, obviously Maria Kanellis, they've just had a kid, so I don't know how much involvement he's going to have. And the last one, Chad Gable. Now, I know they've put out a video saying that he's going to be a singles competitor, which is fair enough. He might get lost in the pack, but if you're going to push for a singles competitor, you're going to go on Raw because it's the longer, isn't it? It makes sense for bookers to have him on Raw. But if he links up with Jason Jordan again to make American Alpha, if that happens, then Raw have 3 of the 4 best ever NXT tag teams. Ascension, who are really good in NXT, people forget that. Potentially American Alpha if they rekindle that relationship, and the Revival. The other one, obviously, DIY. I don't think that's happening anytime soon. But those 3 were definitely really good on NXT. So, you never know. You never know with the tag divisions. They're all a bit up and down at the moment. We obviously had an NXT call-up. as well. It was involving Dolph Ziggler and his promo, where this NXT call-up attacks the Titus Worldwide group, and it was Drew McIntyre, who I thought was definitely staying on NXT for a little bit longer, but he's been called up, and he's a bastard of a heel. He absolutely ran all over Titus Worldwide, and he's got this little team with Dolph Ziggler. It's a bit random, but fair enough. He looked great. Obviously, you'd think the obvious choice was Cien Almas to SmackDown. But I haven't gone for Cien Almas. I've gone for Sanity. They're not doing anything on NXT. They're obviously going to get called up at some point. Why not call them up now? I would love to see Sanity versus New Day. I think that would be... You can have triple threat, 6-man tag matches, that's what I'm trying to say, with Sanity and New Day as well. It makes sense. It's a bit like the Wyatt family versus New Day when that happened. It makes sense. That could be a good little starter feud for Sanity as well. And then you can then have Sanity versus Bludgeon Brothers with Big Damo and Luke Harbour smashing each other on the head. I could easily see Sanity versus Usos is probably the least kind of one I would like to see out of those three. But I would definitely want Sanity on SmackDown, especially with AOP over on Raw. But that is the end of my list. Anyway, we'll see who gets transferred over to SmackDown tonight, and I will be live tweeting it again on the Bad Bookers podcast Twitter page, which is at BadBookersWP. The link will be in the description. Our podcast from last week is on iTunes, SoundCloud and Zcast. If you want to go listen to that, links will be in the description or in the comment section or wherever. If you want to leave any comments for this week's podcast, which is getting recorded tomorrow as I'm recording this, I can't remember, where's my phone? If I was professional, I would have edited that out, but I'm not going to. But yeah, it was an alright Raw. It was an alright Raw. It's obviously all a bit of a mess with the whole Superstar shakeup. There's no feuds really, but there is one feud that we're all looking forward to tomorrow night, or tonight as I'm recording this. Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. We've been waiting 2 years for this, and it's finally going to arrive. But yeah, like I said, SmackDown's going to be the A show. If it's not Jeff Hardy going, it's going to be Seth Rollins. And imagine matches between Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan. Matches we've seen before, mind, on the likes of Ring of Honor. Probably, I don't know if they've ever wrestled. But Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, Nakamura. I mean, just dream matches galore on SmackDown. That's why I think Jeff Hardy's going on there. I don't think they would want all their eggs in one basket over on SmackDown, because that would take the attention away from Roman. Come on, boys. But if you like that, like I said, podcast, Twitter links, everyone's Twitter links who does the podcast will be in the comments or the description, if I remember to do it. I'll remember to do it. But if you like this little review and predictions, then leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If you want to leave a comment for our podcast tomorrow, leave it in the comment section, and I will probably heart the comment so I remember it and then we'll write it down. But yeah, they're my predictions. If you've got any predictions, write them down in the comments as well, or tweet us at BadBookersWP. But anyway, I'll love you and leave you. Listen to our podcast on iTunes. Give it a 5-star. Rambling. I've dropped it. I've dropped my camera. I'll edit it out. No, I won't, because I'm not professional. Thank you, and goodbye.